Last time what we have discussed.
LDS, we discuss about all record form, record view form, record edit form.
Okay. Okay, then we have a situation. Let's start. Now, today we talk about that calling a component inside a component means nesting components. Okay, it's a way to whenever we have suppose since the Aura is working with all the components means it's working in something like component development or we can modular development. So on working with the Aura, then we have to design so many components, and there we got a chance that we need to call a one component inside another component. At that moment, how we are going to do that? Let's discuss on that. So let's build a new component. I design a parent component and make it available for the designer only just for designing a parent component. Okay, it's already defined. Let's close the other one. Okay, there is a component called parent component, and I'm now going to design a child component. Means I'm going to create a child component. Child one. Okay, I created a component called child one. Now let's type hello. Okay, in this component, just write the hello from parent component, and here in the child component, okay. So I designed two components. One is parent component, second one is child component, and I'm going to call this parent component inside the child component because there might be some cases that you will find that you need to call a parent component inside a child. Matlab, you know, to call a child component inside a parent component. First, have a look at how how the parent components looks like. So for that, let's open an application. Sorry, not create, open. Came wrong. Open Lightning resources. Here's my application. In that application, let's bind our okay. It's asking it's saying that it's hello from a parent component. Yeah. Okay. Now let's add child component inside that parent component. So for adding a child component from parent component, you just have to write C colon child component name. just need to refresh. So you can see that it's both are seeing this is from the parent component and this is from the child component. So in this way we can call the what is to get that child component inside any of the parent component. Okay, we can just call that any child component inside any parent component and it's work. We just have to need put the name of that component inside that parent component and it will work fine. Now we got a situation that suppose we have to pass some values for the child components. Here means we need to pass them values or for the child component or initialize some values with for the child components. So how we can do that? Let's have a look. Let's before that let's hmm, first we pass, then we will discuss about some example. So let's have a look at how we can going to pass some values to the child component. For that, let's declare some attributes. Okay, I declare an attribute and I also declare an attribute inside the child component. Name child. Default value is world and I'm going to bind this. Default value is child, sorry, child attribute. Let's refresh. Sorry, v dot. I forgot to add. Now I can see that child attribute is showing up here. So let's make it more. Okay, it's showing here. Now let's make it some. Now let's make some attribute over here. Now in the parent, I created an attribute parent attr attribute whose name's default value is world. Now what happened means suppose I want to control some variables or pass any value from the parent to child. Current child have an attribute. Currently, child has an attribute who is populating its value. Now, suppose I want to pass a value. Suppose I want to pass this a value to the child component. So what I could do that for passing a value from the child component, I need to declare first. I need to declare a attribute for that. So let's declare an attribute for getting a value from the parent. So let's create an attribute. Okay. and there will be no default value for that. Okay, so I design a child attribute is populating, but the value from the parent it's not populating because I haven't passed. I declare a variable, but I haven't passed that value, so that's why it's not showing up here. Let's pass value. So for passing a value, we need to copy this name, this parent attribute. We need to copy this name and paste it here. Okay, equal to, and then v dot the value that we need to pass. Okay, right now we are passing this value world. By default value is world. World is going to be passed up here, and it will be assigned to this parent attribute, and parent attribute will get that child attribute will get that child attribute will get that value and display up here. So let's have a look. So shape all this. Yeah, you can say that world is a value which is coming from the parent. huh? We are passing a value from the parent to the child component via declaring an attribute. So in this way, we are passing a value from parent component to a child component while declaring an attribute on the child component. So we declare an attribute on the child component, and then what we do that we just pass the value from the parent component to the child. We just assign that value of the parent to the child attribute, so that we just so that child attribute will receive the value from the parent. And this is since always it's uh, do the wired property. Suppose so wiring always do the wired property. So any if I change the any value from the parent attribute, the child will also change. Means suppose I change this world value, suppose I change the world value, then this child will automatically get this child attributes, means the value inside the child will also get updated. So let's have a look that how we are going to do that. For that, just like you know that we have an init in lightning component, init handler. Let's invoke an action, or so that whenever component loaded, this will fire. Let's set the value. At attr. Okay, once I component loaded, it will change its value to component dot set. I think I saved, or no? No, I haven't saved. Let's save it. component, oh, spelling mistake. Component. Yeah, you can say that if I change the value inside the parent, means I'm changing this value inside the parent. You can see that I'm changing the value inside the parent, and as a result, if I change the value inside the parent, the child will also get updated. It's not happening only that thing. If I create a button and use on the button, I will hit the button, I will change that value, so it will also get changes. Means it's a property of that aura, that whenever I change a value for whenever I change the attribute value at any place, all the places will get reflected. All the change will also get reflected from any of the places. So let's find a value. Parent ATR. Okay, we are finding a value from parent ATR just to show. Okay, Batman here, it's passing to here. Let's create a button and that will change the value. And now I'm going to change to where is my button? I think I haven't saved. Let's save it. Okay, when I click on it, you can see that here it's also parent component also get changed and child will also get changed. Okay, both are changing. Means if I change at any place, both at if I making changes at any place, that all the things were got changed. So this way we can pass the value from the parent to child. Yeah, we are passing a value from parent to child. And let's have a look that reverse, how the reverse is working. Suppose this is attribute belongs to a child component. Yeah, right, this attribute it belongs to child component. We are in child component, so this okay, this attribute, since this attribute belongs to child component, it means that we can also make changes in the child this attribute too. Let's have a and make changes in this child attribute. For that, let's go to here and let's copy the button. Okay, I'm just in the child component and I'm changing the parent attribute value. Sorry, set, not get, set. Okay, now refresh it. Should I save all this or no? Yeah, so okay. Now once I click it here, it's populating the Batman and versus Superman, and it's also changing the value inside the child. Suppose I change it here, you can see that I change the value of a child. I change its value, but parent get also get reflected. So what is happening that means if I bind the value from here, let's see this where is my child, this one. If I bind the value from here, so it means that the if all the both of them, this parent attribute and then parent attr, this child attribute and this parent attribute, both values are get bind to each other, and changes made happen in any of the value will reflect at the both side. Okay, so that's the point that here it is. So because both are get wired and any changes happen to any of the attributes, both of them are affected to that thing. And this is the way that how we are calling any how we are calling what is that, how we are passing a value from a parent to child, or how we are making, if we want to change any value of the parent component from the child component, so what we have to do, it's also help to do the same thing. Suppose this variable is belongs to parent component, and I'm making and making changes in from the child component. So that if I bind the means I will means whenever we have such a requirement that we need to change the value of parent component by using the child component, so we can do that. We just bind that a variable with that, and then whenever I make changes in the child component, it's the parent will also get affected with that. Well, means it's just we are using just a wired property of the variables. Means all the variables are get wired, means this is properties on wired because it's two way means if I make changes from here to there also get reflected. So that is the thing. And we have one more thing that inside that, suppose we have a situation that let's first talk about the handler. Thereafter we, in the aura components, there is topic called handler. We have seen right now, we have seen some handlers just like that. This is an aura handler which helps to initialize, means whenever the component loaded, it will fire. Means aura handler is a thing that it will handle the actions. So let's talk about the handlers in aura. We have some more handlers. If it is the more type of handlers, actually change variable in aura handler. Yeah, this is, there is also a change, means right now it's a we are using init, means where which shows that whenever the component start, whenever the component loads, this action will fire. We have a one more type of handler called change. This handler is looking for the change means change of an attribute. Okay, means whenever I bind some attribute with that, so it is always looking for the change. So suppose I bind this parent attribute with this, so always it's looking for the change. Whenever the value of this parent attribute got changed, this action will fire. So let create a method. There are a few types of handlers, means one is init change and another is event. We will also look at that. First we'll look at the change event. Change parent attributes, item change. Let's declare a method called so and we can also get the old and new values. Or just leave it with old and new values. So let's have a look. First, show the inspect. Okay, it's loaded. Suppose I change the value. That's not where might be it's not saved. Yeah, it's not saved. Let's save it. EVT. Okay, so event. Save it. Okay, it's loaded, and once the loaded, means suppose it's loaded. Once it's loaded, what is the old value is world and new value is Batman. It's changed. Okay. Suppose I change its value from here. Batman versus Superman. Again, it's changed. It's saying that old value is Batman, new value is Batman versus Superman. And when I click from here, old value is this and new value is this. Yep, you got this. So this is the way, means, and this change event help us to perform any action on the basis of whenever I change a value inside a child component. Suppose we have a situation that we need to call any action from the parent. Suppose mm, let's have an example, then we can talk about this. Mm, where it's means it's just a thing that whenever we are using this handle change, but help us to execute an action of the parent method. Means we are executing an action of the parent method via child method. Means child method is help, just we are making changes in the child method, and the parent method also get executed with the help of this item change event. So let's do that. What I'm going to do that. Hmm. Where is my success? Okay, let's take an help of this. View edit. Okay, let's have an example of this component. So we created this component, view, edit, and all those things. Let's create a one component for that. what does it need? It's need a or a attribute saying contact. And it has some few methods: handle, view, plug. Let's find. So we design a small component that a row for the component, a small row for a component. In that we displaying that component first name, last name, and there is a button which triggering that event, and triggering that event and triggering that it will trigger that means it just says that this component, this is will trigger, delete will trigger, and and then we do that. We just also want to get the selected contact ID, so let's get the selected contact ID. So for that we handle delete kit. Where is that? Here it is. So we get that target.id and set in that on the basis of target ID. Let's call this method, but before calling that method, let's where is my parent component? Come up here and then paste it. Instead of this tr, I will call my child component. What is that name of that? Contact row. And for that this child component, we need to pass some variables. For contact row, we have some attributes, these three attributes. So let's pass these three attributes. Contact, now we need to populate values in this contact list. That is so one task. Instead of doing that, why can't I just save time and directly implement it here? Yeah. So yesterday we designed this my second Aura component. So I'm just changing this second Aura component and replacing it with my child component that I just built. So let's first do comment this code. And then let's add my child component. Okay. So once I add the child component, let's put some variable that we are passing to the child component and which will also be here. And let's call this Aura component to my your application. That is my second Aura component. Okay, I do the preview. Provided not supported, false. Let's check, might be something got missed. Sorry, here it should be v dot. Okay, so we created a child component and we use that child component inside our already created a already created a component, and we pass the values. We pass the values just like we are passing. We passes the values this contact, and just like first we just pass the values contact so that it will get populated. Yeah, you can see that all the values get populated over up here with the help of this child component. In the child component, I created just a row. That row handles all those things, and there is a one button called delete button. So the delete button is showing up here. Where is that? Delete button is showing up here. Okay, now I just demonstrated because we can also create the view, and the same thing we can do for the view and this, but just actually the delete is the simplest one, so it will help you to understand that thing how it's working. So whenever I click on the delete button, this, let's put some console log over up here. It's showing me a record ID. Of console. Okay, whenever you're clicking on delete button, it's not deleting the records because this method does not have anything to trigger the record. Triggering to delete a record is present in our parent component, that this will handle, this will doing the deletion of the record. Yeah, this will doing the deletion of the record, but it is not, we can't trigger it from the child. So what I will do that, I will look for the handle change. Means suppose this whole thing is attached to a this trigger, or we can say that this selected contact ID. Means whenever we just trigger that, whenever the selected contact ID, or this, or we can say that whenever this delete trigger means whenever its value for changes from false to true, so what it will do that, it will trigger that delete event. So let's have a make this. So in order to capture, first I will need to pass that value from parent to child, so that we can capture those events. Just like that we can capture. So let's make it, and we also want the selected ID, and so we also want the selected contact ID. And we declare the same variables over up here, and put a handler that will track for its changes. Let's put a handler that will track for the changes of that delete trigger, delete is triggering or no. Let's put a handler, and handler change value is delete trigger, change action is delete. Let's create a method with this. Okay, so it will show me my old value, new value, and let's have a look. Let's also get the parent value, means selected contact value. Okay, you can see that once I click on that, it's showing me that certain content undefined, but here it's showing defined. What's that? It's changing from new to true, but not giving me the correct ID because the value gets changed first and we are assigning value after that. That's why, because we are assigning the value first, so that's why it's not getting the value. Let's first assign the selected contact ID, then we change the value. Because whenever I change the value, the trigger will fire, means this handle change while firing, and it will not capturing the value of the change. So let's make it, let's first change the value, let's first assign the value, then change the delete trigger. So record ID, it's still not getting undefined. Selected contact ID, we are setting up here, it's capturing it here, and then let's see, that might be, I did not make any spelling mistake. Component.get v.selected ID, yeah, it's correct. Why it's showing undefined? It's sending the value, not sending the value. It's coming up here. Then let's check here. We bind that thing. Selected contact. Oh, sorry. Exclamation mark is missing. Okay. Okay, once you click on that, we got that ID. Now we just have to handle this ID to call the delete action. So let's come to here. Let's delete. Where is my delete? Helper, it's calling this method. So let's call this method with my record ID, and our record ID is component.get. So let's delete this. Got it's deleted. Oh, now it's again we need to make it false because it will only run if that I haven't changed. Okay, it will only run if it is true. Actually, we need to again make that delete trigger to false since it's triggered. So we need to make it false. Make it here. Make it in helper. Once we got success, then it makes false. Now let's here. I click on this, deleted, pointers, deleted. Yeah. So whenever I want to click on this, it's got deleted. So in this way, what I do that I just created a child component. That child component trigger an event of a parent component. Yeah, you can see that that child component trigger an event of a parent component. So this is a trigger a method of a parent component. You can see that here. Where, where's my second? Yeah, this one. This will hits the component of a parent. So any questions? Means that's a small example that how we're triggering means from child to parent, parent to child. Hello.
Yes, we are here.
Okay. I just ask any question, then else we can wait. We can take a break. It's just a quite. So we are with the help of this change event, this change handler, with the help of change handler, we can trigger the helper of a parent, which is changing from a child component. So this is the way that how we capturing, how we're sending the, or we can how we are making changes from parent to child. And usually they ask in the interview if you are making change, that how we pass the value from parent to child or child to parent. Okay, so let's have a break of 10 minutes. Bye. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's so this way we can call the parent to child. And there is one more thing is that if we need to call a child method from the parent method, here we are calling a parent method via child to the child method. Means we are calling a parent method from the child method. Now suppose we have to call a child method via parent method. So what we have to do that we have to use
Suraj, we
or
cannot see the screen. I mean, thank you.
okay, what we
Yeah, thank you.
what we discussed that whenever we have to call a parent method from the child method, then we have taken advantage of ARA handler, that change event of a Aura handler. Suppose we have a situation that we need to call a child method from the parent method. Then what we have to do? Then we have to take a Aura method. Where is it? Yeah. Okay, we need to define an Aura method. In that Aura method, we define the action, and this method is callable from a parent. Okay, and it has some parameters. If we want to pass some parameters, then we pass the parameters, and we can take the help of that Aura method to call from a that will call from a parent. Okay, means whenever we have to call from its parent, when we have to do that Aura method. Let's decide that. Parent, and that parent is using a child one component. This child one component, where is this? Open the child component. In child one component, design a method. So I'm calling my parent one. Okay, let's call a method from a parent. It's something like that component on find. where is my parent component? I banded the parent component, and here is my child component. So I need a ID called Aura ID for that, so I can identify that Aura ID, and then I will use this one to call the child method. And its name is not simple method, its name is child method. So for calling a method from a child, method of a child, we need to declare Aura method, and that Aura method, you can see that parameter one, where is, let me show you. So for calling a method, or no, just for making a method, means just since we have to what I have to done, this I just, for calling any method that is belongs to child means we are calling from a parent to a child method. So that at that moment, suppose I need to call a method of a child from the parent method. So what I have to do, that I need to declare a Aura method. In that Aura method, the Aura method have some first the name, and second is the action, or we can say the method that it will execute once it is called. And then suppose I need to pass some parameters from that from the parent to the child. So if I need to pass some parameters, so for that we need to declare some parameters. It is an optional thing, you can pass it, you can don't, or you do, if you want to pass, then you can pass. If you don't want to pass, no issue in that. Okay, so it is that this is that one, and once it is called, you can change, you can get the values from the parameters. Suppose it's getting from params, and for calling that method, for calling that, but while for calling that method, so we need to do some extra thing inside the parent. So for calling the method, we need to first we need to give an ID to our child component. So we need to give an ID for the child component, and then before calling that so for calling that child method, we need to find first our child component, and then just child component dot child method. Child method, the same name which we name provided up here. Here is the child method, so that will be the same name up here. And suppose I need to pass some parameters. Let's pass that test1, test2. So it will be directly assigned to this params, means what it is present is here. So let's have a look, and the values appear in the console log because I had done the on the child, I put the console log, so it's appear in the console log. So you can see that parameter one, since I'm consoling the parameter one, so and in parameter one I'm passing the test, so that's why it's showing me test. Suppose I need to see what's the value in param 2. Yeah, you can see that I can see both the values which are calling from. And suppose I want to call in this action, since it is belongs to some this child action, so I can call the handler method, I can call any of the method, I can call handler method, I can change the value of the child attribute. Suppose instead of doing here, I can directly change this here too. Just it will change the value from param 1 to plus param 2. So once I refresh, oh, backend component is not defined, it's CMP. Let's put component. Yeah, you can see that test1 and test2 got changed. So in this way, this is the way that, and so it is, since it is binded from that, so that's why it's also changed the parent thing. Let's remove the binding. Let's remove the binding wiring. Let's remove the wiring. Okay, actually you can see that test 1 and test 2 got populated up here. So in this way we can, we have learned that how to call a parent to child, child to parent, how value can be changed, how we called an action, that is how we call a method that is declared in the parent and we need to call it from a child, or how to call a method which is declared in a child and I want to call it from the parent method. So before that we just have seen that we have some handlers. Just we have to take a look help of a handler. That handler will help us to change handler will help us to execute any parent event, and we have if we need to execute any child event, then we have to take a help of a or a method which is called from a parent, and it will execute the method inside the child. So this is the way that how we pass the value from parent to child, how we call the methods from parent to child, and how we take advantage of the wiring property of a variable so that we can so that we can call the parent method from the child method, or child method from a parent method. These all things we can do that. And in the situation based means whenever we get a scenario, and then we have to choose that which way we have to go. So these are the ways that first we need to know, that means how we are doing this thing, how we are calling a method, how we are changing the values. These all things you should know while working with the aura component. Okay, any questions?
No question for now, Suraj.
Okay, so let's move to the next topic called asynchronous apex. Can anyone tell me that what is asynchronous and asynchronous? Synchronous and asynchronous. What is the difference between that?
I can say asynchronous when two calls or transactions or anything we can say, maybe a server call, are independent from each other. This is asynchronous, like thread safe, it's called also in Java. Synchronous, until one is done, the other one is not going to be executed. That's why Java is synchronous, but JavaScript is asynchronous. This is
Java
what
is
Java
not.
is synchronous programming language, meaning when you write a sequential code, until you get the response from the server, the other code is not going to be executed. But in JavaScript, you will need to put what is that called? Promise object. I don't know if you are familiar with that. So Ayub understands what I mean actually, because we saw these things together. Yeah, asynchronous anyways, in short, asynchronous, independent calls or transactions, whatever you say. Synchronous is dependent. One is done and the other one is gonna continue.
Okay. Anyone else want to shed some light on this? I think it's a very common topic. Everyone should have answer. It's a very common topic, synchronous and asynchronous. It's a very basic thing inside the IT department.
Yeah, on a synchronous function, your code doesn't wait one line to run, continuous running. So if you have like 10 lines, if you are trying to get a value from UI on one line and other line you are trying to write on the console log, sometimes before it get the value, it can print empty line because console log runs faster. But on synchronous, like it waits for the next line. Because of that, like in JavaScript, they create asynchronous functions, so you can put awaits to make it synchronously wait for next line to run, or promises, as Mehmet said, to wait your code.
Okay. Okay, the same thing, same concept, approximately same concept also comes in the Salesforce, but there is no something like that we can make the synchronous call to, sorry, asynchronous call to asynchronous, because there is nothing we can say that await or promise. Salesforce does not support, Salesforce Apex does not support that thing. So if it is a method is a if the method is asynchronous, then it will be asynchronous. It will not wait for that. It will not wait for the any other line. It will get executed and do its job. So for working with the asynchronous Apex, we have 4 types of asynchronous Apex. Asynchronous Apex. Okay, we have 4 types of asynchronous Apex: future method, batch class, and queuable. Okay, we have a future methods, we have a batch Apex, queuable Apex, and Apex scheduler. Future method, as the name suggests, it is a method. No, it is a method, just like it's a function. Yeah, it's a function that doing some asynchronous job. Batch is a different thing. Batch is a class. Queuable is a class. Scheduler is a class. These 3 things are a class, but future is a method. Okay, so usually you interview you will find the what is the difference between the feature method and batch class, difference between feature method and the queuable class, what is the difference between feature method and a scheduler, what is the difference between batch and queuable. Means these 4 you in the interview always they will ask about that, what is the difference between these 2, what is the difference with that. So so we have a, because the most in the we all in your development you will always find a way, means you always find a situation that you need to work with the asynchronous Apex. So that's why in interviews they will ask for the asynchronous Apex. So asynchronous Apex has considered of the 4 things, that is the future method, batch Apex, queuable, and the Apex schedulers. Okay, so future methods, as the name suggests, it is a method. Okay, it is a method, so it has some limitation that we can't create an object of that thing. We can't pass it. It will not work as a constructor. It will just a method. It will call and execute. Apart from the means it as the name suggests, it's a method that will work in an asynchronous way. Nothing more, nothing less. Means it is a method. Future method is a method that works in asynchronous way. It just take out the parameters and work whatever it's need to be done. It will do that. Second, we have comes in the batch Apex. As the name suggests, batch means bunches or quantas. So the batch Apex means that it will work in a synchronous way, but in the batches. Batches in the sense means might the batches is the single batch, 10 batch, 20 batch, 100 batch, 200 batch, 2000 batch. So it's up to 2000. They will not more that. So usually it run the Salesforce batch by default takes 200 batches, but you can change the number of the batch in which number it will works. Means it's depend on the batches how much. Means suppose it's usually we use the batch Apex when we have a millions of the records. Means when we have a millions of the records, or means large number of records, 1000, 10,000 of records we need to process, then we take a help of a batch Apex. We take a help of a batch Apex, so that suppose it's used in a whenever we have a situation that suppose in the for a company we have a send an email we need to send an email to all of the employees about towards that anything, welcome wish or new year wish, such kind of things. So whatever be that, we run a batch, and it will, because there are lots of suppose in a company there must be a, thousand or 10,000s of the employees that are working. So we can't do in a right way, because might be Salesforce hits the limits. So for that, in order to just avoid that, we just describe a batch, design a batch. In that batch, we'll just put the chunks of 200. It will process the 200 record, send the 200 emails, and then again send the 200 email, and it will proceed till all the employees will get the respective emails. It has also happened, suppose we have a sync between our Salesforce to some legacy system, everyday sync between the Salesforce to a legacy system. Then we also do the batch effects, because we don't know that in a single day how many records will come. Might be we have a take 10 records, 20 records, or millions of records come on a single day. We need to sync that record with some legacy system which is present some outside the Salesforce. So for that, we just use the batch. Batch will do that. It will process the 200 records and pass sync with that. Then 200 sync. Mean it will work automatically, perform its jobs. No issue in that. So the batch effects is only whenever we have a requirement that we have to process the records in 200. We have to process the records in a batches. Then we have queuable apex. Queuable apex, it's quite similar to the thing is that feature method, but there is a difference in that queuable apex is a class, as the name suggests, it's a class, and it usually comes that means at most of the places you will use batch and future, means you will not going to use the queuable. And scheduler is it's a job is totally different. It's kind of a thing that apex scheduler is make any function to a asynchronous. So that's the different thing. But the future and the batch, these two are the thing that you will going to use at most of the time. So you must have stuck in a situation that you need to call a batch, you need to call a future, you need to call a batch from a future, or future from a future, or batch to batch. Means whenever you have to call a asynchronous method to call another asynchronous method. Just like that, future method is also a synchronous method, and batch future is also a synchronous method, and batch is also asynchronous method. Both are asynchronous method. And suppose we got a situation that we need to call a batch, inside a batch, means we need to call asynchronous method inside a asynchronous method, or we need stuck in a situation that we are calling a future method inside a future method, means we are calling a asynchronous method inside an asynchronous method, or whenever we stuck in a situation that we have to call asynchronous method inside a asynchronous method, at that moment Salesforce does not allow that to call asynchronous method inside the asynchronous method. So whenever we are stuck in such a situation, that what we have to do, that we have to use the queuable apex. Queuable apex is a thing that it will wait. It means whenever we are stuck in a situation that we have to call a feature synchronous method to inside asynchronous method. So we first call that asynchronous method, and then in the second asynchronous method, means in the inner asynchronous method, we call the queuable apex. So what will be that? It will wait. So first asynchronous method once complete and all the resources are available, means all the resources are available, then it will start work. Means it put all the methods in the queue. It will put all the methods, mean all the asynchronous methods in a queue, and whenever resources are free or get time resources are free, then it will execute. So issue is that so running of a queuable method is undefined. You can't predict when it will be run. So that's the issue with while working with the queuable method. It's running when it will be start to be running. It's unpredictable. So we can't predict that it will run at 2 seconds later, 3 seconds later, or 10 seconds. So we can't predict that. It's put in the queue, and whenever the Salesforce resources are free, then it will start executing. Apex scheduler is a different thing. Apex scheduler, it used to make any method to be asynchronous. Means asynchronous, it's not exactly asynchronous, it schedule that thing. Suppose I want to I have a thing that I need to send a birthday email to a single person, or I have or we can say that I need to run my batch on every day. So that will I will take a help of a scheduler that schedule that batch to run every day, or I need to execute anything. So whenever I need to do some scheduling thing, means I need to run any Apex code in a scheduling way. So at that, or we need to schedule that any Apex. So at that moment, we take a help of this Apex scheduler. So these are the four methods that that we are using inside the Cellforce as a kind of a asynchronous Apex that that is available. So future methods, batch Apex, queuable Apex, and scheduler Apex. And let's have a look. Means if you have any question, then you can ask. Then else I will move to their implementation.
Yeah, my question is, you mentioned that when the situation is asynchronous method, inside the asynchronous method, we are using queuable method. What can be the real scenario for we need asynchronous method inside the asynchronous method?
It usually happens that suppose we have designed some our means suppose I had designed a method that I had designed a feature method that callings that is updating a record. Yeah, that is means it perform a method and update a record. On the update of that record, some other developer had designed some other asynchronous is a feature method. Some other developer had designed some feature method that will update that will do something else. At that moment, what it will do that the Cellforce throws an exception that because in your feature method there is some other feature method is calling. So at that moment, our job will fails. We can't do that thing because we stuck in a situation that we can't do that. So at that moment, we will just instead of using feature method, we will use the queuable method. So what will we do that it will put it in the queue and just do that thing. So usually I found situation whenever I'm going to design a feature method, but due to some other task, because we can't change the other task, other developers also working on that, and he had some designed some different thing, and that is working in a feature method. So at that moment, I stuck in a situation that we are calling a feature to feature. Suppose we also have a situation that a batch is updating some record, and on the updation of that record, a feature method is calling a feature because the feature method is executing doing something. So at that moment, we also calling a batch. Batch is a synchronous job, and in that asynchronous method, we are calling another asynchronous, which is a feature method that is also not callable. So at that moment, it throws an exception.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's look at the implementation of the feature method. What we are doing with the feature method, how we are doing with the feature method. So let's do it here. Let's close each tabs. I'm creating a class called async apex. Let's design a method. What will we do that? Usually we design a feature method to make callouts, means to make a request to that external server, means to make that HTTP request. Okay, so usually we had to that thing whenever we need to design a feature method. So for that, for us right now, we're just doing that. Let's send an email. Single email message. And we will pass this ID here. Okay. Let's three contacts. I'm excluding that because we can't, since the developer also we can't send too many emails. It will reach to a limit. So and let's call this method. Or we can directly use, let's do in another way. I'm just removing all the variables and we can just directly use this way. We can directly put the query in the inside the for loop too. So since it is returning the rest of a contact, so I could directly use the query inside the for loop, and I'm just executing my method that will send the email while passing contact object. So as you can see that this is normal. It's a normal method that will send an emails to the contact. Yeah, whose email? Let's also make change that whose email is not equal to null. Not equal to null. Okay. So it's sending an email. Sending what is that? Not equal to null. It's correct.
Should we say where?
Yeah, you forgot.
Where? Okay, so whenever it's a, you can see that it's a normal method. Yeah, it's a normal method that is doing the that sending the email. So it's a normal method. In order to make it feature, we just need write @feature. That's it, and it become a feature method. It's become an asynchronous method. So let's first have a look at that how it's working. So can look at the logs. First look at the logs. Let me execute this thing. I'm calling a method. Look at the logs. Yeah, it executed. Normal execution, no issue, no error comes up, and in the response might we get that it's a send that email. Email is sent. It's okay. Now let's make that as a feature. So I'm uncommenting this link and I'm saving it. And I'm executing it. So you can see that there is a two method is throwing. First is a handler, feature handler, which says that it's an asynchronous method. So threads are changed. Means this is our main thread and it's coming out from that thread, and thread is changed, and it's causing some exception. Might be email. There is some email address which is not good, so that's why email is bounced back. But it's not issue. Our issue is that our thing is that how to run a feature method. So feature as the name says, it's a method. Yeah, it's a method, and we just need to write a feature, so it become a asynchronous at that moment. Whenever we just write the feature, it become asynchronous. And the thing is that it always feature method always be static. Something is that one.
Suraj, I didn't get, like, what is the difference when you write feature? What kind of difference happens?
Oh.
Like, didn't both of them send the emails, or?
No. Both of them will not send them. One is it's just executed and wrapped up, but the feature handler, you can see there is a one more thing. It's called feature handler is running. That is that contains our this thing. There is a one more. You can see in the log. You can see that my log highlighted logs. It's showing me a feature handler here.
So
It means that you are going to use this in another place, another
place I'm not getting.
So the sending the email doesn't happen, right? When you put it at feature word.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't happen right because the email address is not good. It's saying me that email address bounced back.
So the one with the feature, it didn't send, or like both of them? Like, I'm trying to understand.
Oh,
okay.
No, there is only one difference that it's I can't clear the logs.
Like, if
only one difference is that it's causing in an asynchronous way, nothing more, nothing else. And the issue is this error. Let me look at this error. Might be. Let me look at the contact.
error comes on both of them, right?
No, errors. First one does not generate an error, but let me look at that why it's not generating error. No reply at the xyz.com. Okay. Let instead of that use this query. So we get only 3 records. Okay, let's run the execute. Let's look at the logs. So right now we're executing. When I execute, I got feature handler is running. You can see that feature handler also gets success, but feature handler is also running. Now it's running and it's sending the email, and without without feature handlers, let's save it and execute it. No, it's this one is throwing under admin bounce back. Admin at the Gmail address is bounce back. Save those. That's it. Okay, now when I execute without feature handler, it executing in a single line. You can see that this is single. This is it's running in a single thread. Okay, no thread it's showing up here. It's running in a single thread and executing and finishing the job. But when I use the future, at that moment it's not running in a single thread. The thread is changed. Now it's running. 2 methods are executing at the same moment, one parallel to another one. You can see the feature method is also, feature handler is also showing up here. It's showing that it's running it's parallelly along with this. Okay, and this was sending an email, and this is doing nothing. It's just calling that moment. There is no logs of sending email. But in the future, since we make it to send an email, so the future method is handling the sending email. So precaution, no, not precaution. What is that? I forgot the point. We can't. One more thing, we can't pass the. Okay, we can't pass S object in the feature. Suppose if I am trying to pass a S object, suppose contact, so it does not allow that thing. Yeah, you can see it's showing me an allow the whatever means it does not allow means feature method does not support parameter of type contact. So S object are not allowed to pass. That's the limitation of the feature method. We can't pass S object inside method. We just need to pass string means we just have to pass the primitive data types inside that strings. Means we can pass this apart from the S object. We can pass anything. We can't pass the S object inside the feature method.
But
okay,
it means we can't use them also inside of the feature method. Because of that, you use this select query as instead of the list. The for loop.
No, you are. I think you are feeling sleepy. Actually, the thing is that I don't want to use this line.
Okay.
Contact.
It doesn't have anything to do with the other one. Nice.
Yeah, as I told you that I removed this line, and I don't want these 2 lines. That's why.
Okay.
This one. So instead of writing these much of line, I just use merge all the strings together. We can also do that. So it doesn't mean that we can't use inside that thing, but we can use. We can pass as a parameter inside the pass as a parameter.
Okay.
And pass as
This was my
subject.
question. Like if we are only not able to pass as parameter.
Yeah. We can't pass the a subject as a parameter. That's the limitation. It's a limitation, and that's why we are switching to other. Means that is also why we are using the QBL method. And due to this limitation, we are using. Suppose we have a requirement to pass the as objects, then we have to do one thing that either we pass the ID, means we just pass the ID. Means suppose a string and then whatever the contact ID, I can pass that contact ID and then do a query on the basis of that contact ID, where ID is that thing, where ID equal to this, and it will pass. Okay, so in this way we can why it's not a node and is missing. Okay, so in this way we can pass them. Means suppose I have a requirement to, I have to use the S object, then we have to use that again we have to pass that as object, and then and then retrieve from the and then retrieve it from here. But suppose we have a situation that we don't have ID of the record because we are going to insert that record. Yeah, at that situation that we have to use the QBL, because in this, suppose we need to process, we can query that record, then it's okay, we can pass the ID and query the record and perform the activity. But suppose we have a situation that we are going to insert a new record, so whenever we are going to insert a record, we don't have an ID so that we can query. So at that moment, so whenever you are going to insert a record and we have a S object that need to be inserted in a future, means need to be inserted in a asynchronous way, at that moment the future method will not help us. So at that time we need to move to the QBL apex, because the QBL apex we can pass the S object. Because why is we can pass the S object? Because it's act as a class, and class can accept all the parameters. So because apart from the future method, we all the batch, scheduler, and QBL all are the classes. So since it's the classes, so we can do everything with the classes as we are doing the things with the classes. But the future methods have some limitations. That the limitation is that we can't pass S object inside the we can pass S object inside the future method, or we can say that we can't pass S object as a parameter inside the future method. That is the one of the limitation. And it, since it's the method, so it's act like a method, and it's always to be a static. It always be static. Yeah, it always be static method. So that limits some of the things that we can't. Non-static method cannot be. That's the issue. Non-static method cannot be called in static method. That's the error you can face. So whenever we are trying to make any method to be future, so we just declare a static method. In that static method, we just write a future and then call any of the method that we need to call as a future. So usually we use that way. Means we just declare we just design a method that will do its job, and then create another method which having at the future annotation. In that method we will call that method which is doing that thing. So that to make the that method available to our situation. And one more thing, we can't call the future method inside a future method. That's the limitation, because the limitation is that we can't call a feature method inside a feature method, because we can't call asynchronous method inside an asynchronous method. Whenever we have a such kind of requirement, then at that moment we also move to the QBL apex. So QBL apex is only whenever we face some limitation, then we move to the QBL apex. That's, we can say that in short, we can say that whenever we face any limitation while working with the QBL apex, while working with the asynchronous apex, then we have to move to QBL, because QBL is the solution of everything. But we are not going to use the QBL right away, because the running the runtime of the QBL method is unexpected. It can be, we can't predict that when it's going to be run. So that's why QBL method is not preferable to use always. It's only whenever there is a need to use, then we have to use the QBL apex. Else we don't have to use the queuable Apex because their running time is means when it's going to be execute, it's unpredictable. So that's why we are not, because it's a solution of everything, then might be cast that if it is that is a solution of everything, why we are not using the queuable Apex. So that's the issue, that its runtime it's not predictable. Means we can't predict when it's going to be run. So that's why we are using the we are using the future method, or a batch Apex or a scheduler Apex. But when we stuck with such a kind of situation, then we need to call asynchronous to asynchronous. At that moment, we need to switch to a queuable Apex so that it will handle all that situation. But usually we don't suffer with that. It's a very rare time situation, but when it's come, then we have to go to our alternate option. So any questions?
Suraj, I think for today, it was really good. We have to digest all this. My digestion system is messed up. So,
Yeah, your voice is also looking the same. Means also,
so yeah, we need to be a little rest and rewatch again. Yeah, but thank you very much for your energy and for everything. For today's, I think is enough, huh, Suraj? Or you want to
Okay.
continue?
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay, pretty. This one I am doing right now in Trailhead, like 2 days, and yeah, it's very understandable. I think everybody's sleeping. Yeah, this one I started already. I am doing asynchronous Apex.